In every dynamic field, whether from sports or finance or to drug development, we are conditioned to treat extreme outcomes as the new normal. When a molecule shows a miraculous 90% efficacy in a small pilot study, we assume that that performance will continue indefinitely. Or when a market performs exceptionally well during a certain period of time, we think that it will keep doing that for a long period of time. However, one of the most sobering mental models is regression to the mean. It states that if a variable is extreme on its first measurement, it will tend to be closer to the average on its second. It doesn't mean that things balance out through magic. It just means that extremes are often the result of luck or noise, and luck rarely strikes twice in the same way. The reason regression to the mean is a mandatory tool for professionals is that it prevents us from misattributing causality. Most outcomes are a combination of skill and luck. In high stakes world of biotech where biological systems are inherently noisy, a miracle result is often just a lucky draw from a distribution of possibilities. When the luck component vanishes in the next trial, the performance regresses back to the true averageability of a drug. And if you don't account for this, you will find yourself chasing ghosts, making massive strategic investments based on statistical outliers rather than reproducible signals. So, understanding this model allows you to stay emotionally level and you stop overpraising temporary peaks and also stop over penalizing for temporary dips. Let's take an example to understand this better. Imagine you are designing a phase 2 trial for a new chronic pain medication. To show the biggest impact, you only recruit patients with the highest pain scores, let's say 8 to 10 out of 10. Now, here's the trap. Patients at their absolute worst are statistically likely to feel better tomorrow, regardless of the drug, simply because they are at an extreme. So, your drug looks like a miracle cure in the pre post analysis. However, without a robust control group, you are just measuring regression to the mean. And this is often a case in a phase 2 trial, which is quite often seen to have a less rigorous trial design without a comparator arm. And this is why many drugs fail in phase 3. The initial success wasn't the drug, it was just the math of extreme symptoms returning to their average. So, in the previous two videos, we saw about the black swan events and mastering the equilibrium. And together with those two, this mental model should give you a clear picture of how things occur around us in our environments. That everything around us exists as a part of a bigger system that exists in an equilibrium. Now, every now and then we could observe black swan events happening, which are just outliers, but that doesn't mean that the system will exist in those states always. Eventually, depending upon the cycle times, even if it takes long, it the system will come back to its equilibrium state. So the goal of mastering regression to the mean is to develop a long-term lens and not be fooled by the high flyers or the bottom dwellers. So don't build your strategy on the outliers, focus on mastering the equilibrium.